Have you ever stopped and wondered why it feels almost impossible to look away from your phone sometimes? Well, today we're diving deep. We're going to explain the powerful psychology that's happening behind the scenes of that digital scroll and why your screen has such a hypnotic pull. You know the feeling, right? We have all been there. You just open an app to watch one quick thing, and then, boom, an hour has just completely vanished. You kind of look up from your phone, a little dazed, wondering, wait, where did that time go? Okay, so here's the big secret. That lost hour, it wasn't an accident. And it definitely wasn't some kind of failure of your willpower. Nope. It was actually the result of a very carefully engineered system that is designed to do exactly that. 3 little seconds. That's it. That is the entire window a piece of content has to grab your attention before you just scroll on by. And if you click away too fast, the platform's algorithm basically sees that as a failure. And guess what? It stops showing the video to anyone else. It gets buried. So yeah, the stakes are unbelievably high. So let's pull back the curtain, shall we? We're going to look at the psychological toolkit that everyone, from massive media companies to your favorite creators, uses to capture and then hold your focus. First up, we've got a really powerful principle that kind of preys on one of the human brain's deepest instincts, our absolute need for closure. It has a name. It's called the Zeigarnik effect. And you know this feeling. It's that nagging, almost itchy sensation you get when something is left unfinished. Your brain literally keeps a mental to-do list of all these incomplete tasks, and it just can't rest until they're checked off. And this is exactly why you feel that almost physical pull to click next episode. Media creators have, frankly, become masters at exploiting this little glitch in our cognitive wiring.
You see it everywhere. They use cliffhanger endings that leave you totally hanging. They'll split amazing stories into multiple parts, forcing you to come back for the conclusion. They write these headlines that create what's called a curiosity gap. It's an open loop that your brain is just desperate to close. They are, on purpose, leaving the story unfinished.
And really, that's the core of it all, right there. Our brains crave resolution. So by leaving a story incomplete, creators make sure their content is living rent-free in your head until you finally find out what happens next. But it's not just about keeping you on the hook with unfinished stories. Oh no. The second layer to this whole thing is how our brains are wired for reward, essentially turning our social media feeds into a kind of digital slot machine. I mean, just think about the difference between a predictable reward, like, say, your weekly paycheck, and a variable one, like pulling the lever on a slot machine. The paycheck is nice, sure, but you expect it. The slot machine, though, that's what's addictive. And the social media scroll is a perfect digital slot machine. The next video could be the funniest thing you've ever seen, or it could be totally boring. You never know. So you just keep pulling the lever or, scrolling. And here is the absolutely crucial point. That powerful chemical rush, the dopamine hit in your brain, it's not even about getting the reward, it's about the anticipation of it. The uncertainty is the magic ingredient that makes it so potent. It's that what if the next one is the one feeling that keeps you completely hooked. So psychologists have a clinical term for this. It's called intermittent reinforcement. By delivering those rewards, like a great video or a fascinating fact, on a totally unpredictable schedule, these platforms create an incredibly powerful dependency. It's actually the exact same mechanism that underlies addiction, and it keeps you locked in a cycle of seeking that next hit of entertainment. Now, keeping you hooked in the moment is one thing, but the real goal, the big prize, is making sure you remember the content and the brand's message long after you finally close the app. And that, my friends, is where emotion comes in. This might be one of the most fundamental truths in all of communication. At our core, we are emotional creatures. You can list off all the facts and figures you want, but the thing that truly gets lodged in our memory is how a piece of content made us feel. And believe me, there's a whole toolkit for this. It means telling stories with a clear conflict and a really satisfying resolution. It's using music and visuals that tap into deep feelings like nostalgia or pure joy. It's about creating relatable characters whose struggles we can see ourselves in. And so critically, it's about sharing the why behind an idea, not just the what. That emotional connection is what turns a casual viewer into a loyal follower, and maybe even a follower into a customer. Okay, so now that we've really pulled back the curtain on all of this, we're kind of left with a choice. And this knowledge isn't just interesting trivia, it's actually really empowering. Because you understand these mechanisms, you are no longer just a passive participant being pulled along by the scroll. You now have the ability to see the architecture, the blueprints, behind the content you consume every single day. The power is truly in your hands. And you can use this knowledge in two main ways. If you're a creator, you can use these principles ethically to build messages that genuinely connect and resonate with people. And if you're a consumer, you can recognize these techniques when they're being used on you, which allows you to consciously decide where and how you want to spend your most valuable asset, your attention. The design of the digital world isn't invisible to you anymore. So the real question is, now that you understand the psychology